Have you ever seen photos of Japanese homes and wondered how it's even possible? How people living alone, in apartments smaller than most Western living rooms, keep their spaces looking like that, every single day, without a cleaning service, without anyone's help? The answer is not that they have more time, it's not that they're naturally more disciplined, and it's definitely not that they have bigger homes. The average apartment in Tokyo is 51 square meters, less space than most of us have, and yet Japanese homes consistently produce a feeling that most Western homes never do. Not impressive, not decorated. Calm. The kind of calm that makes you want to sit down and not move. The kind that makes your own home feel loud just from the memory of it. There are 12 specific habits Japanese people practice every single day. Habits so embedded in daily life that they stop feeling like effort. They just feel like living. Today I'm going to show you all 12. Exactly what they are, exactly why they work, and exactly how to start them. Even if you live alone, even if nobody helps you, and even if you've tried everything before. Stay until habit number 3. It takes 1 second. It happens every time you touch an object, and skipping it is the real reason your home never stays clean, no matter how much effort you put in. 12. Okaeri. No shunken. The return ritual. The first habit happens in the 90 seconds after you walk through your front door. Okaeri no shunken. The moment of return. In Japan, entering the home is not a passive event. It is a deliberate transition. Shoes come off at the genkan, the entry threshold, and are placed, not dropped, in their designated spot. Bag goes to its specific hook, coat to its specific place, keys to their designated tray. Every object that arrived with you is processed and placed before you take a single step further into the home. This sounds simple. It is almost never practiced. In Western homes, the entryway is where things arrive and never leave. The jacket thrown over the chair, the bag dropped on the floor, the shoes left wherever they landed, each item placed just for a moment, and then made permanent by the next item arriving on top of it. A study published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that people who described their homes as cluttered had significantly higher cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, throughout the entire day, not just when they were looking at the clutter, all day. The entryway is where clutter begins. Stop it at the entry, and you stop the cascade before it starts. How to start. Designate an exact spot for 5 objects: shoes, bag, coat, keys, phone. Not an approximate area. An exact spot. The hook on the left, the tray by the door, the shelf at eye level. For the next 2 weeks, every time you enter your home, process all 5 before moving further. It takes 90 seconds. It prevents the single most common source of visible disorder in every home. The entryway is the home's immune system, and when it works, disorder doesn't enter. When it doesn't, everything inside is eventually affected. 11. Mizu, no rule. The water rule. The second habit involves water, specifically every surface that water touches. Mizu no rule, the water rule. In Japanese homes, wet surfaces do not stay wet. After using the bathroom sink, it is wiped dry. After showering, the walls are squeegeed or dried. After using the kitchen faucet, the area around the basin is dried with a dedicated cloth kept right there for exactly this purpose. This habit seems excessive until you understand what water actually does to a home over time. Water left standing on surfaces doesn't simply evaporate. It leaves mineral deposits. It creates the conditions for mold. It allows soap residue to calcify into the texture of tiles and fixtures. It produces the gray film that makes bathrooms and kitchens look perpetually dirty even when they've been recently cleaned. The NSF International found that 14 of the most germ-contaminated spots in the average home are concentrated in the bathroom and kitchen, specifically on surfaces where water sits. The water is not the problem. The sitting is. Japanese homes stay cleaner with dramatically less effort because wet surfaces never have time to develop the buildup that requires aggressive cleaning. The 30-second wipe after each use replaces the 30-minute scrubbing session once a month. How to start? Place one microfiber cloth near the bathroom sink and one near the kitchen faucet. After each use, wipe the basin and the area around the tap dry. After showering, run a squeegee or dry cloth down the walls once, 30 seconds per use. It eliminates soap scum, mineral deposits, and mold at the source. The surfaces that never develop buildup are the surfaces that never need to be scrubbed. 10. Kai no kikaseru, the observed room. The third habit is not about cleaning at all. It's about seeing, ki no kikaseru, making the eye notice. Japanese home culture has a practice that sounds almost philosophical until you understand what it actually prevents. Once a week, before doing anything in a room, you stand at the doorway and look at it. Really look at it, for 5 full seconds, as if you've never seen it before, not evaluating, not planning, simply seeing what is actually there versus what familiarity has made invisible. Because familiarity is the enemy of a maintained home. Within 2 to 3 weeks of living somewhere, the brain stops registering what the environment contains. The pile in the corner becomes part of the corner. The item on the floor becomes part of the floor. The accumulation on the shelf becomes part of the shelf. You stop seeing it, but your nervous system doesn't. Neuroscience research on habituation shows that the brain actively suppresses repeated visual stimuli to preserve processing resources. An object seen in the same place every day generates progressively less neural response. By week 3, it has effectively been removed from conscious awareness. It is there. You do not see it. But here's what Japanese psychology understands that Western cleaning culture almost never addresses. The brain continues processing what the eye has normalized, even without conscious awareness. That low-level processing is a continuous drain. The pile you've stopped seeing is still costing you something every time you enter the room. The observed room practice resets this deliberately. Those 5 seconds at the doorway, before familiarity reasserts itself, reveal exactly what has been accumulating below the threshold of conscious notice. How to start. Once a week, walk through your home room by room. Stand at each doorway. Look at the room for 5 seconds before entering. Notice what the eye registers in those first 5 seconds that it doesn't register after. Those first-second observations are what needs attention. Everything else the eye has already accepted as normal, which means it has already begun draining you without your awareness. Before Habit 9, a quick mention, this channel just launched something new. The Japanese Art of Letting Go, Volume 2 of the Japan Way series. The complete step-by-step system for releasing what's holding your home back. The 3 emotional blocks that make letting go feel impossible. The 3-question protocol that resolves resistance in 60 seconds, and a 30-day release journal. Everything we teach in this channel in one guide. Link in the description. Now, Habit 9. 9. Yoru no Junbi. The evening preparation. The 4th habit happens in the 10 minutes before you sleep, and it determines what kind of morning you wake up to. Yoru no Junbi, the evening preparation. Japanese home culture understands something most Western productivity advice misses entirely. The state of your home in the morning is determined the night before, not by what you do in the morning, by what you did or didn't do the night before. Every evening before sleep, dishes from the day are washed and put away. Kitchen surfaces are cleared and wiped. Items left in the living area are returned to their homes. Whatever is needed tomorrow, bags packed, items positioned, clothes chosen, is prepared now, while there is still energy and time. This takes 10 minutes when practiced daily. It takes 45 when skipped for 3 days. But the real value is not the 10 minutes. It's what the morning becomes. A morning in a home that was reset the night before has no friction. The counter is clear. The dishes are done. The path through the home is unobstructed. Before the day makes any demands, the environment is already prepared to receive them. A study published in the journal Sleep found that participants who reported bedroom disorder, objects out of place, clutter on surfaces, had significantly longer sleep onset time and lower sleep quality scores than those who didn't. The brain that enters a disordered space cannot fully rest because it continues processing its environment rather than shutting down. The evening preparation is not cleaning. It is the reset that makes every other habit easier to maintain. How to start? Set a 10-minute window every evening. Same time every night. Run through 4 things: kitchen surfaces cleared, dishes done, living area reset, tomorrow's items prepared. 10 minutes maximum when done daily, no exceptions. The morning you wake up to a prepared home is a fundamentally different morning. 8. Mono no basho. The object's home. The 5th habit is not a cleaning habit. It is a thinking habit, and it makes cleaning almost unnecessary. Mono no basho. The object's home. In Japanese home philosophy, every object that exists in a space has one specific location it returns to after every use, not a general area, not somewhere in the kitchen. One exact place. The scissors return to the second drawer on the left. The remote control returns to the right corner of the coffee table. The charger returns to the basket on the desk. Every time, without exception. This is not about neatness as a personality trait. It is about eliminating a specific and invisible cost that accumulates silently over time. Every object without a designated home is a decision waiting to be made. Where does this go? Should I move it now? Where did I last put it? Research from Princeton Neuroscience Institute found that visual clutter, objects without a designated location, directly competes with the brain's attention and measurably reduces the ability to focus and process information. You aren't consciously noticing the objects. Your brain is processing them regardless. In Western homes, clutter is not created by objects. It is created by objects without homes. Give every object one exact home, and the disorder has nowhere to form. How to start? Choose 10 objects you use every day. For each one, designate one exact spot, not an approximate area, one exact spot. For 2 weeks, return every object to its exact spot after every use. After 2 weeks, the return is automatic. The hand knows where things go before the brain consciously decides. That is the habit working. 7. Dogu no Sankei. Respect for tools. The 6th habit changes the relationship between Japanese people and everything they own. Dog no Sankei. Respect for tools. In Japanese culture, objects are not passive. They have purpose, and that purpose deserves care. A kitchen knife is cleaned and dried immediately after use, never left wet in the sink. A cutting board is dried, standing vertically to prevent warping. A pan is returned to its exact position in the cabinet. A cloth is rinsed after use and hung to dry properly. This is not ceremony. It is the practical understanding that objects maintained with care last significantly longer and perform better. Research from the Institute of Life Cycle Engineering found that kitchen tools maintained with regular cleaning and proper storage last on average 3 times longer than identical tools that receive minimal care. 3 times. But there is a less visible consequence that matters equally. When you care for what you own, you develop a different relationship with acquisition. The person who genuinely cares for their objects does not accumulate easily, because every new acquisition implies new care, new responsibility, new space. Respect for tools naturally produces restraint in purchasing, and restraint in purchasing is the most effective form of clutter prevention that exists. How to start? Choose 3 objects you use daily. For 1 month, care for them deliberately after every use. Clean them, dry them, store them correctly. Notice how they look at the end of the month, and notice how differently you think about the next thing you consider buying. 6. Owarai no shori, the completion rule. The 7th habit is about how Japanese people start things. Owarai no shori, completion before beginning. The rule is exact. Nothing new begins until what is currently out is finished and returned. You don't start cooking until the breakfast dishes are done. You don't begin a new project until the previous project's materials are put away. You don't open a new package until the old packaging is properly disposed of. In Western homes, the accumulation of incomplete actions is the primary source of visible disorder. The coffee cup from this morning still on the counter when lunch is being made, the previous project's papers still on the desk when the new project starts. The empty packaging still on the table when the new item is already in use. Each incompletion is small. Their accumulation is not. A study from Florida State University found that incomplete tasks create what psychologists call the Zeigarnik effect, a persistent cognitive load that the brain carries until the task is resolved. The unfinished thing occupies working memory, whether or not you are consciously thinking about it. Enough of them, and the load becomes chronic. The completion rule eliminates this at the source. Every task is finished before the next one begins. There is no pile of incomplete actions, because no action is ever left incomplete. How to start? This week, practice 1 rule before starting anything new. Whatever was last used must be fully finished and returned before anything else begins. This will slow you down at first. That slowdown is the habit installing itself. Run 5. Kukan no Ikiyoi, space momentum. The 8th habit is about what Japanese homes refuse to do with their surfaces. Kukan no Ikiyoi, space momentum. In Japanese home philosophy, empty surfaces are not waiting to be filled. They are functioning as intended. Western culture treats an empty surface as a problem. An empty shelf needs something. A bare counter looks unfinished. There should be something on that table. Japanese culture treats empty space, as active and valuable. The space between objects is what makes individual objects visible. Without it, everything becomes visual noise. And the mind that processes noise continuously is a mind under constant, low-level stress. The practical consequence: Japanese homes have significantly fewer objects on visible surfaces than equivalent Western homes. Not because of minimalism as an aesthetic, because they understand that surfaces accumulate, and accumulation is the beginning of clutter. Research from the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that participants rated rooms with clear surfaces as measurably more restful, more productive, and more livable than equivalent rooms with objects on surfaces, even when the objects were neatly arranged. How to start. Choose one surface, the kitchen counter, the coffee table, the bathroom ledge, and for 2 weeks, keep it completely clear of everything except what is actively in use. Notice how the rest of the room feels. Notice what your eye does when it encounters the empty space. The goal is not an empty home. The goal is surfaces that breathe. 4. Taine nasenta ku, the deliberate laundry. The 9th habit is about the moment between folding and putting away that most Western homes skip entirely. Taine nasentaku, the deliberate laundry. In Japanese homes, laundry is not finished when it is washed and dried. It is finished when it is put away, immediately on the same day it is dried, folded, using the vertical method that allows every item to be seen at once, without disturbing anything else in the drawer. The laundry chair that exists in virtually every Western bedroom, where clean clothes accumulate because they were washed but never fully put away, does not exist in Japanese homes. Not because Japanese people have more time, because the laundry process has a defined endpoint, and the endpoint is the drawer, not the chair. Research on decision fatigue shows that the average person makes hundreds of micro-decisions daily about clothing, many of them generated by the visual chaos of clothes that are neither properly stored nor dirty. The ambiguous pile. The is this clean question. The search for one item requiring you to move 12 others. The vertical folding method eliminates all of these simultaneously. You open the drawer, you see everything. You take what you need, the rest remains undisturbed. How to start. Next time you do laundry, fold and put away on the same day before the day ends. Use the vertical folding method. A quick search will show you how. The first time takes 20 minutes. After that, 5 minutes per load. The laundry chair disappears, not because you removed it, because there is no longer anything to put on it. 3. Shunkan no ketai, the instant decision. And now, the habit that makes every other habit on this list sustainable. Shunkan no ketai, the instant decision. The principle is exact. Every object you touch in your home is decided in the moment you hold it, not deferred, not placed somewhere temporary, decided. You pick up the mail, you process it now. Action items go to their folder, everything else recycled immediately. You take something out to use it. You return it when you finish. You bring something into the home. You find its home before you set it down. There is no temporary placement. There is no, I'll deal with it later. Here is the truth that Japanese home culture understands, and Western cleaning advice almost never says clearly. Clutter is not created by objects. Clutter is created by deferred decisions. Every pile on the counter is a pile of unmade choices. Every crowded surface is a collection of things placed just for now, and then made permanent by everything that arrived after them. The objects are not the problem. The deferral is. A study from UCLA's Center on Everyday Lives of Families found that mothers in dual-income American households showed elevated cortisol levels specifically while navigating the home's common areas, the kitchen, the living room, the entry. The cortisol spikes correlated directly with the density of objects out of place, not with how long it had been since they'd cleaned, with how many decisions were still waiting to be made. The instant decision eliminates the pile before it forms. You cannot have accumulation if nothing is ever deferred. How to start. This week, practice one rule. Whatever you pick up, you decide before you set it down. Mail, Objects, clothing, dishes. Everything gets a decision in the moment, not later, now. The first week feels effortful. By the end of week 2, the instinct changes. The hand knows where things go before the brain consciously registers the decision. That is the habit working. And when it works, every other habit on this list becomes easier, because the home you're maintaining never accumulates the resistance that makes maintenance feel hard. 2. Mado no Hikari. The window light. The 11th habit transforms the way you see your home. Literally. Mado no Hikari, the window light. Every week, on a clear morning, every blind and curtain in the home opens completely, not for warmth or atmosphere, for revelation. Sunlight at an angle is the most honest diagnostic tool available in any home. It shows what artificial light conceals. The layer of dust on the surface you wiped 2 days ago, the smudge on the window you thought was clean, the corner where accumulation has been happening in your peripheral vision without registering as a problem. Japanese homes traditionally maximize natural light, partly for this exact reason. Sunlight reveals what comfortable evening lighting forgives. The weekly light inspection produces something specific, a list, not a cleaning plan, a list of the surfaces and corners that need attention, generated by honest light rather than habituated vision, then addressed while the light still shows them clearly. Research on environmental perception found that natural daylight increases visual acuity by up to 25% compared to artificial lighting. The things you don't see under artificial light, the film on the mirror, the dust on the ledge, you see immediately in direct sunlight. Japanese homes stay cleaner, not because they clean more, but because they look honestly more often. How to start? Once a week, open every blind and curtain in your home, first thing in the morning. Walk through each room. Notice what the honest light reveals. Address those specific things before the light changes. The home that is looked at honestly once a week never drifts far enough to require crisis correction. Fantisid O1 C-E-R-E-Bu no me, the subtraction eye. And the final habit, the one that makes all the others permanent. Seiri nomi, the eye of subtraction. Once a month, Japanese home culture practices what the 5S organizational system calls seiri, a quiet, deliberate 30-minute walk through one area of the home with one question applied to every object encountered. Is this still serving the life I'm living now? Not the life that was lived when the object arrived. Not the life that might be lived if circumstances change. The life being lived right now, in this home, in this season, in this version of who you are. The object that answers yes, stays, with intention, with its designated home, with care. The object that answers no or hesitates is released. Before it calcifies into furniture, before familiarity makes it invisible, before it becomes part of the background your nervous system processes without your permission. This is not minimalism as a lifestyle choice. It is maintenance as a monthly practice. Research from the journal Psychological Science found that people who periodically reduce the objects in their living environment report significantly lower baseline anxiety than those who accumulate without review, regardless of total object count. It is not how many things you own. It is whether the things you own are there by intention or by inertia. The subtraction eye makes that distinction once a month. The objects that stay are there because you chose them. The ones that don't are released before they have time to become permanent. How to start? On the last Sunday of every month, 30 minutes, one area at a time, rotating through the home across the year. One question per object Is this serving my life now? The home evaluated honestly once a month never requires the weekend-long decluttering project, because the accumulation that makes that project necessary never has time to form. And when you live alone, which means every decision in this home is yours, that monthly walk is not a chore. It is the act of choosing deliberately the life your home supports. These 12 habits share one quality that makes them different from any cleaning routine you've tried before. None of them are about cleaning. They are about not needing to. The return ritual stops disorder at the door. The water rule prevents the buildup that requires scrubbing. The instant decision eliminates the pile before it forms. The evening preparation means the morning never starts from chaos. The subtraction I ensures nothing accumulates past its purpose. Together they create a home that maintains itself, not because the person inside it has more discipline, but because the system they practice makes disorder structurally unlikely. That is the Japanese insight, not cleaner people. A better designed daily life. And here is what makes that insight remarkable for someone living alone. You are the only person responsible for this home. There is no one to split the habits with, no one to pick up what you put down, but that also means there is no one to undo what you build. Every habit you install in this home stays installed. Every system you create stays in place. The home you build through these 12 habits becomes a home that works for you, quietly, automatically, every single day, without anyone's help. Start with 1. The return ritual. 90 seconds every time you walk in the door. Practice it for 2 weeks until it's automatic. Then add the water rule. Then the instant decision. In 6 months, you will not remember what it felt like to live the other way. Tell me in the comments, which of these 12 will you start with, and which one feels most impossible right now? Subscribe, because every week this channel goes deeper into what Japan figured out. See you next week.